Okie dokie, hello, hello. Got D-Wins here again. Gonna showcase this new discovery in order to get ourselves from Chapter 3 to Chapter 15. So, early game to end game. Hopefully, this will be valued by the speedrunner community, but let's jump in and I'll try to explain the process as best as I can. So, you want to have a file in Chapter 3. You can see I'm only level 15. So early on in Chapter 3, you would get a prompt from Prompto to go check out the Chocobo Ranch. I recommend you go take that, because to perform this quest, you do need the Chocobo unlocked. You can see it in the corner, I already have 6 days going. So it will take you somewhere from here to here. You have to accept the Deadeye quest to unlock the Chocobo. But then after that's completed, you could proceed to this next part, which should be the main highlight over here. So you're looking for this area, the Longwythe rest area. You know, it's the second one you visit after Hammerhead. So what you want to do is find a nearby battle. The one with the level 2 Sabertusks is fine. And this might take me a few times to get correctly, but just start by getting on your bird. Let him go into the battle. Dismount. What you want to do is you want to trigger Dash de Chocobo, which is only in battle, mind you. Okay, there we go. And then you want to teleport out of it. So, based on the camera angle, you should see the bird running towards you. So you want to keep running away from him. If you've done this correctly, your camera should be locked in place. This actually will probably take me a few tries, because I'm poor with aligning myself. Yeah, I think I messed it up there. Got too close. But what's going to happen is the bird is supposed to follow you, and you're supposed to trigger this sitting action at the same time he appears by you. This is going to give you a sort of superposition glitch. I'm going to keep trying it until I get it. I've only started this off today, so mind you, I'm not perfect at the glitch myself. But in case anyone's wondering, yeah, I'm still on Chapter 3. You can see I haven't visited Lestalem yet. Still blackened out. Try this again. Dash, teleport away. Yeah, I can see him running towards me, that's good. It's hard to put a marker on the map as well, because you want the camera to be facing this way. I messed up again. Yeah. You want to get in between this area, and it's hard to make that on the map. That's alright, I've got time. That's just the birds attacking in my place. No, I messed that up. Bad position to the enemies. It doesn't matter what level he is, but I've been running around this file for a while, so that's why it's so high. Okay, try again. Alright, better positioning there. Gotta jump around these cars. Bird should be nearby. And I'll try sitting. I think I messed it up. Too early. So the bird is supposed to interrupt your sitting animation. Alright, like I said, this is going to take a few tries. Still a new glitch, ironing out the kinks. So the dash is still trying to take place. That's how you could see him running towards me. The camera should be locked, and so I can't really turn it around. So it's a little tricky to position yourself where you want to. See the bird come close, I could try triggering the sit down. Okay. Alright, so I think I got it. Yeah, so you see Noctis, he's not sitting quite properly. Eventually he's going to dismount on his own, and then you'll be sort of hovering in midair. See? That's not right. Alright. So, at this point it doesn't seem like you could do a lot, because you have no horizontal or vertical movement, no weapons to use. Yeah, sure, you could play your music if you want, but you can still open the menu. Opening, or rather selecting Call Chocobo won't do you any good. You can't mount him, you can't sit down again if you're close enough when triggering the glitch. You can't use any of your items, but what you can do is still take photos. So we're going to actually abuse this, because when taking photos you briefly regain control. You can see Noct's position changes, from falling crazily to sort of steadying himself again. So by spamming this method of take photo and back out, we are actually gaining some slight horizontal movement. So I'm going to have to do this like 30 times, and what I want to do is go to a position of collision. Right now my position that I'm in, or the area I'm aiming for, is like this kind of rock over here. It's not far. It's shouldn't 400 feet, but just so you know the direction I'm going for. So I want to get out of this falling down animation, and I need to reach solid ground to do that, and the only way to get there from, hovering in midair is I need to find some sort of incline. So this will take a minute or two. Just as a minor point, I think I have the car nearby already parked. It's not terribly relevant, but oops, messed up the camera angle. There we go. Before I was by the bench, you could see slowly walking in midair. This is unofficially dubbed the Skywalker glitch right now, courtesy of another user on YouTube who I'll shout out later. Once you get out of the town area, you will be able to use your sword again, so you could actually use that for some horizontal movement as well. Once you do have your weapons available, you can actually forget about the photo spamming. Just make the last distance by swinging the sword. Eventually you'll reach the ground, which is important because at that point, you see now I have no options in the menu. But once I reach the ground, I can go back to return to car, or the rest point, or tow it. And what I want to do is tow it right now, mainly because we're going to get from here all the way to here. I don't know if there's a particular area that's specific to trigger the glitch, but I did it right here for my first attempt. Whoops. I got off the ground for a minute there. Okay. So we'll try returning to not the rest point, but we'll try towing the car, because that brings you closer to Hammerhead, which brings you closer to Insomnia. Now once you do this, this skyfalling sort of position you were in retains itself, so that Noctis now has lost his collision. So effectively what we're doing, well, we're going home, boys. We are... Yeah. So this part of the glitch just tends to be rather slow. But you are gonna take the long trek back to, well, your home city. See the boys running above you? They can only function inbounds, but Noctis is free. So now I am able to use items if I want to. I can try calling the bird, but it just, nothing happens. Noctis is not in the usable position. Unfortunately, your dash and your warps are also sort of cancelled out, so all you can really do is walk. Having said that, this is faster than the clipping out of bounds Skyfall glitch done by the Cornix bypass. So you'll be making about 0.01 miles every 5 seconds. I don't know if anyone wants to crunch the math there, but you pretty much have only two speeds here. You have your walking speed. If you quickly try to take a photo, you can get back to the shuffling animation for a good larf. I don't know if it's really even faster than the typical walking speed. Oh, thanks, Sharky. It seems faster based on how the camera moves, but it seems to be pretty comparable. It's a long while, so someone can time it if they're interested. Yeah, but we're going to be doing this for, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or so. So it's important that we do it this way, because alternatively you can try making your way through Lucis by doing the Chocobo out of bounds glitch and actually using it to swim past Golden Key, past Angel Guard towards Lucis. You will find out though that there's just no collision there, it's only background. That eventually you're just going to be out in open sea with nowhere to go. Right? Because we're going from here all the way to here, kind of a trek. But you know what? The scenery is better than what you're used to. You get to see how continent looks like underground. Eventually you are, you know, outside the walls, so you won't see the boys running above you anymore. I'm pretty sure you could still give them buff items, although there's no reason to. Just in case you're wondering where they're located, I suppose. Yeah, basically I just have to hold down this direction for a while, so, you know, get comfy. If you have questions, ask them now. Because this is where they're going to be explained. I'm just going to sit here, sip on my coffee for a while. You'll see some different lighting effects, different shadowing. You're supposed to be able to change your elevation based on what slope you start off on, but since I'm starting off with the neutral, having teleported to Hammerhead, I guess I'm just on flat level ground up until this moment, so nothing should change my elevation. If you don't want to go this direction, you could explore other areas of the continent to your heart's content, but, you know, mind you, it is a bit slow. you can probably, how do I say it, optimize your distance traveled as long as you set up where your car is parked and where your rest point is, because you have the two options to teleport. So say, I don't know, you want to go to the Vesper Pool. If you have your car parked somewhere here, then once you trigger this Skywalker village, you only have to go this distance. Say instead of going from that top left corner from all the way here. But, you know, just use some common sense. Try to make some conveniently placed warp points. And thankfully this glitch is easier to trigger than the Skyfall one, but I would say the Chocobo Out of Bounds is still easier. Both are on my YouTube channel now. And just disclaimer, I didn't discover these, I just practiced these myself. And what seemed to be missing information on my end was that this is possible on 1.30 on the Windows edition. I have all the settings maxed out here. You can see in the top corner it's 120 FPS. I tried to put everything on highest here. I don't know if that matters, but well, it's just something to add to the list of knowledge. Yeah, I apologize I couldn't make this faster. I am kind of explaining things and just going through some of the details, but if this ends up being a new category, say any percent Skywalker, or just any percent glitched, or just, I don't know, standard any percent. I guess it depends on what the mods feel like this is even worth adding onto the board. But looking like once you get to Chapter 3, the average runner is about 1 hour into their run. The Deadeye quest itself is like 30 minutes. And then to trigger this one, it's about another 10 minutes, and the actual walking about 30, so that would mean you get to Chapter 15 in about 2 hours, 15 minutes, I want to say. That's the aim. You can see some water effects as well. A lot of extra bloom. So I'm trying to keep the camera off just not to blind the viewer. Whether it's day or nighttime doesn't really matter. I mean, I'm pretty sure Sabertusks spawn during the night. You can see this big ground area. So it's as if Lucis was supposed to be, or rather Insomnia, the city of Insomnia, was supposed to be at some point a visitable location. But at some point they just sort of got rid of that. They didn't remove all the assets, but because there's no collision, this is the only way to get there as far as I can tell. Getting through the Chocobo, I mean you can, but there's no way to trigger collision at that point. And skyfalling, I haven't tried just because the distance is so ridiculously long. But either way, this is the faster alternative now. Yeah, that marking is just to meet in Lestalem, but we're not going that way. That was weird. I wasn't supposed to be able to warp. Huh, I guess everybody gets one when they're falling. This is sort of a pseudo-falling situation. Yeah, I'm just trying to mash triangle now and nothing's happening. Can switch weapons and whatever, but can't attack with them. Pressing circle to try and swing just puts Noctis in that sort of Chocobo shuffle animation. Annoyingly, my stream is sort of dropping frames here, so might not be witnessing everything, but hopefully all the key points are here, described in a somewhat rational explanation. yeah, what the speedrun is what? Chapter 1 to Chapter 3 like normal. Say yes to Prompto this time. Go to Wiz's Outpost, do the Deadeye quest to unlock your Chocobo, unlock, I don't know, 2 days is probably fine for 100 gil. I think I have less than 1,000 to my name now, but if you're worried about getting gil, just sell all your extra things in the car shop menu. What might be a good idea is to pick up lots of extra spells while you can, because you're going into this chapter severely underleveled and severely, with low inventory. But I will leave that for the routers. I do not actively speedrun this game. Only in this past week have I been exploring glitches, and I'm frankly very happy that I was able to find this one. Thanks to all the help and advice from YouTube, instructional videos, and just plain old exploring on my end. I was able to combine the knowledge from all the glitches to figure out this one. As most great discoveries are, it's incremental, step by step. Just piling onto your knowledge, and eventually you get the grand thing. You can see at this point in the map, I'm kind of entering where the ocean would be from the out-of-bounds land, right here. Yeah, looks like I've been hovering for about 20 minutes, and what, I'm about halfway there? Something like that. There are a few other attributes I'll explain, but when I'm closer to the actual point. So with this, I guess, teleporting to the Disc of Cauthis and the Vesper Pool is no longer really necessary. Been doing a lot of studying there, trying to see if I could trigger some other story quests, but no, that was not required. Looks like we could go straight to Chapter 15. It's alright, I won't call it lost time. Personally, I enjoyed my exploration there. I guess as a side note I can mention, so for these long treks, you might think that you have better things to do. So the best way I found to get this going on passing is just to take a rubber band and attach it to, well, right now I'm using a PS4 controller. So attach it to the left stick that controls movement, wrap it around the L2 area. That way the control stick is arcing sort of to the upper left. That's why I have this sort of reticle for my map location on the left side of the screen. So if you get that rubber band set up, you could just let this game go, run in the background. Mind you, you do have to be clicked onto it. Like, I'm running in windowed mode right now, so if I hit my Windows key and get out of it, I stop moving. So I do need to make sure my window is enabled. This is just me moving around with my mouse, much more smoother. But nah, I stick with the controller here. Just keep it at about this angle. I don't know, if you just don't want a sore thumb or whatever, you can just do this. Just a suggestion. Very useful for when you're doing this through the Skyfall method. Not this glitch, but when you're trying to get to out-of-bounds areas. Sometimes it's hard to tell whether you're moving if you don't look at the reticle, so I mean, if you look to the side, you can see some gradual movement. Just be sure you do mark this point on your map before the entirety of it disappears. Because when you are off the map, and you'll see in the upper right corner, this whole thing eventually disappears, and that's actually going to be our marker to trigger the next portion of the glitch. Now, mind you, this is only my second time trying to trigger this, so I might mess it up. But you know what, I'll still explain how it's done, and I do have a backup file just to show you where I end up. Fitting music. King's Glaive soundtrack. Unfortunately, I think my audio is very poor quality here, so you can probably barely hear it. Go, Noct, go. Yeah. Yeah, daytime travels as normal. Hey, Gaios. Nice to see you here. What I am doing is showcasing the warp from Chapter 3 to Chapter 15. If my math is correct, this saves about 1 hour in the any percent. This is... well, I'm running this on PC Windows Edition, you know, styling at 120 FPS. I haven't tested it out on console, and actually, no, I can't anymore because I don't have the disc. I bought it physical when it came out, and I've since sold it. Come on, get closer. I mean, I could try testing it out on a lower FPS, but I'll do that offline. And, you know, I'll let people in the Discord know whether it works at a lower version. Unfortunately, I'm not an active speedrunner, so I don't know the ins and outs of how we can make this work. So I'm going to leave that to the experts, but I do want to showcase this. Hopefully I provided a relatively straightforward explanation. I'll put it in writing as well. It's easier to read. Yeah, Kaios, that's more or less the idea. You're in Chapter 3, you disable the collision on Noctis, you try and get all the way back to Lucis, and it will just give you the first cutscene after you leave the Apocalypse Hammerhead area, and that just automatically updates this quest list with the Chapter 15 one at the bottom. So the average guy finishes Chapter 3 at about 1 hour. Then they have to do the Deadeye quest, so let's assume that's another 30 minutes, because you need the Chocobo to perform this glitch. Then you gotta do this running segment. So all in all, you'll be in Chapter 15 at like 2 hours, 15 minutes. Then you do the rest of the game, and I don't know how fast people are, but could be a sub 3 hour run. Could be, I don't know. Some glitches are frowned upon after all, so I don't know, this one will be welcomed with open arms, but it would be good to have this out and about so people know about it. Yeah, 5.7 miles from Lestalem. Gonna be about 6 by the time we get there. Yeah, it looks like Noctis is pretty close to some ground level. But yeah, it's not real ground, don't worry. You can't touch it. My map is still in all here. I'm waiting for it to despawn before I can perform the next portion of the glitch. There we go. So yeah, like I was mentioning before, the whole city doesn't exist. It's supposed to be just a backdrop. So once you get close enough, whether you do it this way or through Chocobo swimming, it just ceases to exist. However, this is crucial in that we're doing it via the Skywalker glitch, which is what this will be dubbed, as opposed to the Skyfall glitch where you're just free-falling, because... I mean, I can't call my bird. I can take a photo if I'm interested. I can even throw down the buff items on my party members to try and reload the area. And this is the method to reload the ground if you're doing Skyfall, but this doesn't seem to work during Skywalker. I didn't mention those are just the two dub names of the two glitches. Because the party is supposed to teleport with you when you try and buff them, but Noctis is just way too far, and that just doesn't work. So instead, because I'm actually on ground, I am free to save the game. So let's save here. Let's reload. And let's see if this works out. If it doesn't, I apologize. But I have the backup save. Okay, so it looks like it's worked. So you get this prompt as if it's your first time playing the Royal Pack. So just go through these. We'll get another loading screen. And the game is basically trying to figure out where you are. It thinks you're in Insomnia, but you're in the Royal Edition. And that's a different dungeon, isn't it? That's the Apocalypse one. So here we are. With the young boys. 10 years in the future. This cutscene is pretty plain otherwise. Somehow I have the ring, I guess. JP for best audio. There we go. Got your typical map. Yeah, 1070 Ti. And you can see the quest list back here. So, you know, for anyone who wants to do this on your own, looks like I've been streaming for about 35 minutes. I'll put this up on the YouTube as well. Okay, so in the cutscene I have the ring, but in my menu I don't. That's interesting. Alright, whatever. But yeah, watch out because you're level 15. You have very few items to help you through, but, you know, guys, have fun with this. I look forward to the results. Hope you enjoyed as well. And, you know, take care. I'll do some exploring on my own later. But that's all I want to show. Yeah, I've got my own save already here, so I'll test stuff out on my own.